So there is a really large condo in New York City that has opened up 55 affordable apartments to rent, and they have been flooded with applications. They've received about 88,000 applications for these lower income, I should say, from the rest of the building apartments. Now, the thing about this, and the thing that's been getting a lot of attention, is the fact that the lower income residents have to go through a separate door nicknamed the poor door. Now, let's give an example of how rich this area is. Okay, especially this building. The prices for some of the condos in this range from about $1 million to as much as $25 million. Now, let's contrast that to some of the more affordable apartments in there that they've created. And the maximum rent for one of the affordable 2-bedroom apartments in this place is about $1,082. Well, about $1,000 per month. So, stark contrast between the people who get the affordable apartments and the people who normally get the normal priced condos in this building. So, I want to ask you, what do you think about the whole idea of having a separate entrance for people who are going into these more affordable apartments?
You know, I'm a bit torn, to be totally honest with you, because morally, I think it's pretty terrible. But, man, I'll tell you what, if I was in a situation where I could live in a 2-bedroom in the middle of Manhattan for $1,000 a month, with the way rent prices are now, I think I would suck it up and deal with it. To tell you the truth, if that was me, I mean, wouldn't you?
I think it'd be a bit insulting, but I would.
Are you not a big Manhattan guy?
Not necessarily, but then again.
All right, well then maybe that's, yeah. Of course it's a bit insulting, but first of all, million, like you said, the condos go for what, a million, you were saying?
$1 million to, it's a range between $1 million for the cheapest, excluding, of course, the affordable apartments made for low-income families, and as much as $25 million. And that they would be able to use the normal entrance and not the poor people entrance.
Right, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, kind of degrading, and morally, again, I find it. But I'll tell you what, if I was in that situation, or they were like, yeah, you get a 2-bedroom in Manhattan, $1,000 a month, same building as these $1 million condos, you just have to use this entrance instead, I think I'd be okay with it. And you know what? I would try to have dinners with my fellow poor people. Poor people. I would have dinners with my fellow poor people, and we would show that the rich folks that we know how to party. And if they were like, "Hey, can we join?" I'd be like, "You know what? Yeah, you can join. Let's you're welcome. We're going to share what we have. That's how life's supposed to work." And then they're going to be like, "You know what? We want you to use the same interests as everybody else because we're all friends here. This is our community." And then we're going to be like, "You know what? Yeah." And then we're going to get closer to utopia, Jeff. That's how it's going to happen. I'm moving to Manhattan tomorrow.
You know, the one thing that I've learned today is that I can be just as cynical as Dan Spearin. Because that's what I'm feeling right now. In what world will that happen? Would it be nice? Yes. Do I think it will ever happen? No. Here's what I think, and maybe I'm completely off base.
I might have been being facetious. I don't know.
Yes. It feels like a slap in the face. I mean, yes, there's almost 90,000 applications, so people are definitely jumping on it. Why? Because it's actually affordable, unlike most places in Manhattan. I understand that part of it, but it's that extra, it's that little bit of a slap in the face of saying, well, we're gonna allow you to have this excellent opportunity to live here, but you cannot be seen. You know, my grandpa used to say you should be seen and not heard, right? Well, this is more of you shouldn't be heard or seen, or you'll upset these rich people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what it seems like to me. It just seems like this company's like, yes, and I think they're getting a tax break for doing this, for being part of the
Right.
inclusionary
Sure.
housing program. So they're
I'm
getting
sure
some
there's
sort
an
of,
incentive, Jeff.
yeah, they're getting some sort of benefit out of this. And so
Yeah.
they're doing it, but they're doing it in the worst way possible by saying, okay, you know,
Sure.
here's the separate entrance for you little people, and make sure not to get in the way of the actual people that we think are important. And that would be, of course, the wealthier condo owners. And look, let me go through a couple of the perks that you get between the wealthier apartments and the less wealthy apartments. Okay. Low-income renters will have a street view, a community room, and bike storage. Ooh, bike storage. That's helpful. Hey, great. The
Actually,
condos.
that probably actually would be really helpful for a lot of people.
It is, especially
Yeah,
in
I
New
mean,
York. I wasn't being
yeah.
facetious about that.
No, I didn't think you were. I was just making sure.
Oh, yeah. The condos, however, have an expansive view, understandably, and they get a pool, a bowling alley, a rock climbing wall, a golf simulator, and a screening room. Oh, well, I guess if you're going to pay a range of $1 million to $25 million, you got to get some perks with it. So
It'd be nice if they could share the pool. I mean, come on.
No, they're not going to share the pool.
I think everyone should be able to take a swim.
No.
Well, I'll tell you what. I live in an apartment complex that is cheaper than even the poor people, quote unquote, apartments in Manhattan, and we have 3 swimming pools. So, granted, we're in Nashville, not Manhattan, but
Right. Fair enough. And I'm pretty sure you don't share share a wall or even a building with somebody who's a very wealthy person in New York. So
no. If I do, my neighbors are really good at hiding it.
yeah.
They do not strike me as millionaires or anything close.
So yeah. One more thing that I want to mention on this one. Bill de Blasio found out about this, and he's like, well, we're gonna change the housing code to eliminate so-called poor doors. If you want to have an apartment complex and want to get this tax break or incentive for creating affordable housing in your building, you can't just segregate poor people from the wealthier people by creating a different entrance. That's demeaning, as you would put it. And we're going to do away with that practice. So, look, maybe that will lead to poor people running into rich people and rich people saying, you know what, these poor people aren't so bad. Maybe. But who's being optimistic now?
Exactly. And you know what? I hope you're right. I mean, truth be told, I have some friends, you know, I live in Nashville, where you kind of get, and there's a lot of everything going on in this town. It is the show business town. And,
Sure.
you know, I have some friends that have certain gigs that they've landed where they're, you know, close to 7 figures now. I have other friends that are living gig to gig, and are barely getting by. And a lot of times you see these two groups commingling with each other. It's not super uncommon. Now, maybe it's a little bit different because in this situation, you know, everybody came from the same cloth. They're musicians or there's some other creative professional, and they, you know, they got the right break, whatever. So they know what it's like to start out with nothing. Whereas, you know, when you inherited something or whatever, maybe you're a little bit different. Maybe it's a different way of doing things, a different attitude. I can't say that for sure. I only have my own personal experiences to go by. But yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, it would be cool if they all kind of started to commingle or something, and then maybe eliminating the doors would kind of help that happen a little bit.
And just to give this caveat out, I don't think all wealthy people are terrible people. I don't
Exactly.
think anybody,
well, I know for a fact they're not, you know?
Yeah, so I don't want to give anybody that impression that I'm like hating on all wealthy people, but there certainly are some who carry I don't know, a bit of a misconception about people who are lower income and carry a certain attitude. And I'd be remiss in not mentioning that as well. So it just really kind of all depends on who the person is and what kind of attitude and experience they have.
Well, and to your point, policy like these, like having a poor door, does not lend itself to fixing those types of misconceptions.
Absolutely. That is incredibly true. Wow.
I still would love to live in a 2-bedroom in Manhattan for $1,000 a month, though.
Well, maybe they'll do another program, and I don't know. We'll see.